inside the off stump. Oh, he's caught it! I don't believe it! Tom Kohler-Cadmore has caught the most magnificent catch. At short third man, it's the end of Daniel Sams, and Somerset have won the Vitality Blast 2023. They've bowled Essex out for 131.
Hello there, you're listening to Always Look on the Bright Side of Life. This is the Somerset Cricket Podcast. My name's Ian Shepherd, and joining me on the eve of a new season, we're only 3 and a bit days away from the County Championship season kicking off again in earnest. I've got the official custodian of the Maidens Bowl by Men in T20 Blast Cricket for Somerset, Dan Kingdom. Dan, you missed out last time. You were over in Germany. Your flight was delayed. And yes. I understand you were spending a lot of time researching the popularity of Tom Kohler-Cadmore over there during your delay.
Had an extra day out in Munich, and I spent it asking people if they knew who Tom Kohler-Cadmore was. Unfortunately, no one did. But I did see someone bowling at some stumps, so there is at least one cricket fan in Germany. He may have been a player for the national team. Who knows?
Who knows? And also joining me, well, I was about to give you your usual sobriquet giver of the voice of cricket on BBC Radio Somerset, but it is still at this 11th of 11th hours, TBD, as to whether you'll be picking up the microphone on Friday morning. Do you have a latest update for us?
I don't, I'm afraid. I mean, it's still a case of watch this space. Everyone's saying, oh, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. But the closer we get to the start of the season without a resolution, the more the more doubts tend to intrude. So fingers crossed. But we may. I think we may get some news tomorrow. But whether it's good news or bad news, I honestly don't know.
Well, we live in hope. I saw Annie at the dinner on Friday night. She said she was Annie Chave. And she said she was just going to turn up on Friday morning, hoping for them. She's going to be there anyway, so if there's a microphone with her name on it, that's all well and good. We've had some cricket at the Cooper Associates County Ground, which I was fortunate enough to be able to attend on Friday and Saturday. Pre-season game against the Glosters, a 3-day where the usual 13 aside and 11 bat and 11 bowl. I mean, I'm not sure how much you can draw from a pre-season game, apart from the fact that Sean Dixon now seems to have nailed on his claims for the opening spot. That's my wife taking my son to Scouts there, if you had that on the Alexa. Sean Dixon made 103 and then retired in the first innings. I think he made about 25 odd before he sort of said he had enough second time round as well. I was pretty impressed. Before I give my thoughts, guys, did you see any of Dixon on sort of Friday morning, Friday afternoon?
No, I didn't. But he's a very good player, Sean Dixon. He just hasn't shown it opening the batting for Somerset so far. So let's hope that he makes that opening position his own. It looks like they're going to open with Dixon and Vaughan. I beg your pardon, with Lamberby coming in at number 3. It's not such a strong opening partnership as last year on the face of it, because it's a right-hand combination rather than right-hand left-hand, which makes it a little bit easier for the opposition bowlers. But he's done well in white ball cricket for Somerset. Sean Dixon hasn't done it in red ball yet. Perhaps this is going to be his season. Let's hope so.
Well, he took his time getting off the mark. I think it was about half an hour before he recorded his first run. He played a couple of loose shots during that time, but it was literally just a couple. He wasn't sort of playing missing every ball. It's previous times with him when he's looked out of Nick opening the batting that he's looked like he's struggling. But even though he wasn't scoring during that first half an hour, it really looked like he kind of owned his space, or whatever it is they call it. If you follow Sean on social media, you see he's been doing a lot of practice in sports psychology over the winter. He's sort of started, I think he started his own sort of practice or consultancy doing that. So it looked very much like he kind of improved on the mental side of things, and was just sort of taking his time and not really worried about not scoring. And then Vaughan got a few runs as well. He just looked a little bit like he had a bit too much energy at times. He just when I talked about sort of Dixon owning his space, Vaughan was very much the same, but he was kind of a lot of energy, a lot of shadow shots rather than kind of sort of stood there with kind of sort of dominant body language, talk about owning that space again. Um, that'll come. He's only a 19-year-old lad. He's got all the time in the world to improve. So that was it, really. That was my thoughts on the openers. The middle order did what they know they can do. Lammonby got 100 and then played an airy fairy shot on 95, and it went down deep with Wicket's throat. Abel got 80 odd, not out. Rue got 50 odd. Banton got 50 odd. And then a few of them had a little bit of a slog second time around. In terms of pre-season, I don't think it particularly could have gone much better. Nobody got injured.
What was the pitch like? How did the pitch play? I mean, it looked from the stats pretty flat.
I think yes and no. We've had a lot of pretty flat decks at Taunton that have kind of sprung into life towards the end of the game. I think it was only the Notts pitch which resulted in a draw last year. So for what we've sort of said about the pitches being flat and slow and low, when you kind of look at the actual data, we've only had one draw there, and that was that Notts game. Essex Kent we won, Hampshire we lost, Surrey, Durham, and Warwickshire where we scored that big 100 chasing that on the last day. So you could kind of argue that the Warwickshire pitch maybe was a flat one that was a little bit too flat, given that we chased 400 on the last day. But it looked like one of those that, had it gone the distance, we probably would have won over the 4 days. Because Josh Davey bowled really well after tea on the second evening. That's when I decided to go, by the way, just before that Gloucestershire first innings barked into life. They picked up 5 wickets for not very many on that second evening. So I think there was a bit there if you'd maybe bet your back. The Glosters really didn't look like they wanted to try and exert anything out of the pitch. And once they kind of realised after 20, 25 overs with a new ball that it wasn't going to be one for the seamers to be nipping it around everywhere, they just bowled their spinners for virtually the rest of the innings. We had a few more seamers there to sort of spread the load around so they could give it a little bit more oomph. I thought Alfie bowled really well. He looked a different bowler to last season. Really want to try and get him in on the Friday morning, but it looks like it's going to be difficult. And I think that's pretty much that from the Gloucestershire friendly. Like I said, just a good little workout. Few more questions with the bowlers. Batting seems to have sorted itself out. On to Worcester.
Yeah, it's obviously a very strong and deep batting lineup. The bowling is a bit of a concern, though, isn't it?
Well, I'm trying to shove them all in. I can't work out who to go. I've got 4 bowlers for 2 spots.
Well, you've got Gregory, Overton, Leach, and Pretorius. Is Pretorius going to be there for Friday?
Should be. He should be.
Pretorius, and then one of either Josh Davey or Casey Aldridge, I would have thought.
Well, I've got Alfie in there as well. I mean, my 12.
I can't see Alfie quite making the team just yet.
Oh, he had a good bit of nip about him. I like him. Just want to get him in the team.
Yeah, so do I. But when the older ones are all fit and ready to go in the first game of the season on the earliest start to the county championship season ever on April the 4th, I would go with experience rather than youth. And when the time comes to rotate some of the older ones, I think that's when Alfie will get his chance.
So I've got 9 then. I've got Vaughan, Dixon, Lammonby, Abel, Banton, Rue, Gregory, Blanket 8, Overton, Davey, and depending on whether you're going to play a spinner, Jack Leach or not.
Well, you've got to play a spinner. You've got to play Jack Leach.
Yeah.
And you've got to play Pretorius, I think. I mean, what's the point of having an overseas player if you're not going to play?
So there we go. So there you're leaving out Aldridge and Osborne.
Well, or Aldridge stroke Davey, but I would have thought that Davey, I think, bowled well against the Gloucesters. and he's the sort of bowler who does well on early season pitches. He nibbles it around, and he's got loads of experience. And I think Aldridge is much more sort of hit the pitch bowler, better batsman obviously than Davey, but batting shouldn't be a problem. So I think my vote would go to Josh Davey.
Yeah, I think so as well. Dan, how's your team attack lining up? You playing Jack Leach? The first question.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I mean, there is the option of perhaps picking an extra batter instead of Leach, maybe Goldsworthy to still give us a spin option. But I would still go with Leach, I think, unless we really don't think we'll need him. But I think we probably will. I mean, pitches at this time of the year are often actually quite flat, aren't they? They either seem to be flat or helpful for the seamers, and I doubt it's going to be a green seamer. So I suspect Leach will play. Yeah, I mean, I had Gregory, Aldridge, Overton, and Pretorius as my bowling attack. But as you said, Davey bowled well. I mean, he's always, good at Taunton as well. So, he's an option. I think it's also that we won't necessarily pick our absolute best bowling attack for this first game. I think there will be an element of planning ahead as well, because we've got 5 back-to-back games. So they'll be looking ahead, I think, and seeing who they think will suit each ground we've got coming up as well. So we've got Hove, then the Rose Bowl, then the Oval. So there'll be sort of an element of planning, and they might be thinking, okay, Aldridge will definitely play at Hove and the Oval, for example, and therefore he won't play this game and the Rose Bowl, just as an example. So there is that to think about as well. And you obviously mentioned Ogborn as well. I mean, obviously he's a left armer as well, gives us a bit of variety. I think it would be not a surprise at all to see him play at some point in this first block of five games. And I think we haven't even mentioned Jake Ball as well, who is the one guy who didn't take a wicket against Gloucestershire. And I can't see him playing this weekend. I think he's very much, in my opinion, he should be very much used as a backup rotation bowler, pick him when needed. But I think we'd all prefer to see Ogborn play over him, because he's just a bit more exciting, provides a bit of a different option. So we have plenty of options. And once Pretorius, hopefully Pretorius will be available as well. And then obviously we got hopefully Matt Henry from game 2 onwards too. So at the moment, without any injuries, there's lots of options.
Yeah, it's a bit of radio silence on Matt Henry's injury status at the moment. So fingers crossed, everything crossed, that the big Kiwi is on a plane more or less this time next week and is ready to take the field at Hove on the second game that starts on the 11th. Just one thing as well, going back to playing or not playing a spinner, we're in a slightly different situation as to this time last year, of course, where we now have Archie Vaughan at the top of the order who can bowl some spin if needed, whereas we didn't have that all-rounder spin option in the side this time last year. So I just wonder if that may help tip the balance one way or the other. I'm not sure, but yeah, in terms of the pitch, there wasn't much sea move. There wasn't much pace in it as well, which is another reason you don't want to be. You want to have as many seam bowling options as you can. You don't want the guys flogging themselves to death on a lifeless surface. You need kind of quality seamers and lots of them. So who knows? I went to my first ever media day last week, which was good fun. I had a couple of one-to-ones with. Well, first of all, I spoke to Tom Lammonby, and then I had a word with Somerset Women's captain, Sophie Luff. We will listen to Sophie a little bit later on when we have a chat about Somerset Women. But this is me catching up with Tom Lammonby right about this time last week at Media Day. Tom Lammonby, thank you for taking the time to join us on Media Day.
No worries.
Plenty of blue sky, fluffy clouds, the cricket season nearly here.
Feels like summer already, doesn't it?
It does, mate. How's your winter gone and what you've been working on to build on what was a pretty good 2024 for you?
Yeah, it's been good. I look back to sort of the summer last year and I look back on that with a bit of proudness and felt like I had a good season. Within that, there's obviously still some things where I look back and I'm frustrated that I didn't score as many, more runs or didn't win one more game or 2 more games that I should have or could have. So definitely that honest reflection was good. But the winter's been great, just giving me another couple of months just to solidify a lot of the stuff that sort of helped me be more consistent last year. So it's been another great winter and then topped off with a great trip to Abu Dhabi. nice.
Yeah, apart from one clip that surfaced on social media, which is probably the the low light of the tour.
Oh,
I don't know if you
from
saw that
Bessie.
one. Yeah, that one. But I suppose you're
No.
paying him a bit of a compliment by expecting him to turn one, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I said to him. No, we're really good friends, so obviously from Devon and then here.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bit of stick behind that, but yeah, luckily it's only pre-season game.
Good
Hopefully he
stuff.
doesn't do it
I've seen
in
him
the real
attracted a
thing.
load of midges here. But yeah, like I say, good pre-season Abu Dhabi. So what are your kind of plans and goals for the 2025 season?
I think along the similar lines as last year is try and be as consistent as I was last year, and really, yeah, just hopefully get a Somerset off to as good a start as possible in as many games as possible as we can. But you know, going further than that, it's right. Can I make 200, 300, 400s? Hopefully, help Somerset win more games in the summer, rather than, you know, sort of getting there and yeah, being consistent but not affecting as many games. So, but within that, not over expecting or overachieving. So that's the main goal for Red Bull Cricket, and then obviously break into the white ball team again and hopefully earn a spot back in that team and show sort of the team, the coaches and the fans like what I can do in white ball cricket as well.
That's a pretty rock solid lineup to try and break into as well, especially now Rui sort of came to the party on finals day as well. So it's going to be difficult. I mean, where do you kind of see your spot there? Is it maybe going back to the old days and being down at 7 and being more of a bowling all rounder?
No, I think for me, I'd love to be higher up in the order, like 1, 2, 3, 4. But it's probably looking more realistic, like middle order with an option to bowl, and then obviously do what I can do in the field. But you know, it'd be nice just to play some white ball cricket, because it's been a bit scarce lately. Like I haven't really had much opportunity or much time in the middle. So I think even if it's just playing a few games, getting sort of 4, 5, 6 games under the belt in twos cricket or whatever, like just getting that feeling of playing white ball cricket, which I haven't had for so long. So that would sort of be the main aim, get back in and play.
Of course, you're lining up to make your 50 over debut for Somerset now, which has been a long time coming. Are you looking forward to being a part of the Metro Bank team this year?
Yeah, definitely. I've geared up every season almost expecting to play 50 over cricket, and that hasn't happened. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, and I'm really looking forward to the opportunity of playing some 50 over cricket and batting for longer periods of time, and as I said, like playing more white ball cricket, which is something I really want to do.
Good stuff. I think briefly mentioned the bowling a couple of minutes ago. It seems if Somerset haven't taken a wicket for half an hour, Twitter goes mad. So, well, just give Lammonby a bowl, left arm, a different option. How is the bowling? Are you kind of
it's been good.
Raring to go?
Obviously, the fitness has been a bit of an issue the last couple of years, so haven't bowled as much as I would have liked. But I've had a good solid winter working on that, and hopefully that just keeps on an upward trajectory, and I managed to stay fit and be an option to be able to bowl, because like it is a bit frustrating sort of getting an opportunity when it's sort of 70, 75 overs old, but I understand as well that I haven't been in a position to be able to bowl as many overs as sort of the captain or coaches would like. So hopefully this summer brings that opportunity, and I can get the bowling boots strapped back on.
Excellent stuff. We tend to have quite in-depth chats about batting at the end of season 2, and you're relatively sober, I've had sort of 6 seasons. But we did talk about kind of a few, I know, sort of little sort of psychological things you're doing out in the middle. You kind of worked on that over the winter as well, and sort of the mental side of things as well as technical things?
Probably not as much throughout the winter as I did last year. But having said that, I think that was why Abu Dhabi was a good sort of exercise for me. It actually put it into perspective how much that affected me last year and how good that was for me. So we set up a good sort of timeline for that leading up to the first game of the season, to hopefully be able to nail my processes again and feel like I'm just out there batting in the middle and look to score every run rather than think so technically, which can be the danger of spending a winter indoors. So that was a good exercise in realising what I actually need to do to be ready.
Are you nailed on at 3 now? Is that your spot, or do you anticipate being shuffled around, or are you kind of sticking at 3?
I'm not too sure. I'd love to bat 3 again. I really enjoyed it last year. It was a different challenge. You know, you could be in the first over, or actually have to wait a bit. But I easy wherever I bat, as long as coaches and captain are happy. I'm
politically
happy.
The correct answer.
Yeah, it's look, I'll bat wherever. So just same game, isn't it? Bat and a ball.
There's been a few changes to the squad over the winter. A couple of young guys coming in, a
Yeah.
couple of them down there, Finn Hill and JT Langridge, who's I thought Lewis Gregor was exaggerating about his haircut, but it's a solid effort. Do pop down and try and have a look at that. I mean, how have those guys integrated into the squad and the first team environment?
I think pretty well. Obviously, we haven't seen a huge amount of Finn Hill. We haven't seen a huge amount of him because he's been in Oz, doing quite well over there. So I think it's an easy environment to break into. Like, it's almost one of those where you don't really have a choice because it's quite everyone's quite local here, and you know, if one person does something, the rest follow, and it ends up being sort of easy to fit in. And I hope those lads feel it, and they've been a great addition to the squad. So hopefully they can show what they can do this year with the bat and the ball as well.
Yeah, looking forward to that. And has anyone who sort of caught your eye in the squad over the winter is kind of, you think, or maybe they've upped their game a level and there's one to watch this year?
I've got a left field kind of fit goes with the left kind of theme, but Alfie's bowled really nicely all through the winter. Obviously showed what he could do a little bit in first class cricket last year, but he seems like he's really picked up a gear in pre-season and winter training. So I think he could be one to watch for the season ahead.
Good stuff. And finally, it's the club's, I'm not going to try and say that word, sesquicentennial, 150th anniversary of the club. The ground's looking magnificent. How much are you looking forward to being a part of this special season?
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable actually. I haven't really thought about it too much, but just picking up the shirt today and it had a sort of timeline on here, 150 years on the badge. Like, it's pretty cool to be a part of, you know. If you like, just quickly reflecting then, like coming here when I was a kid, you know, watching the likes of Trez, Triggs, Hildy, whoever it may be, like actually to then be able to even just put the shirt on is a dream. So actually reflecting on that puts it a lot into perspective and being like, right, actually done quite a lot to get here. So I think it's just, it's amazing to be a part of the history of the club. So I'm just grateful for that, and hopefully it's a great year.
Yeah,
there's
one gap.
We'll always give it our best.
Yeah, one gap in the club's CV that we haven't been able to deal with 150 years.
It'd be nice.
Not going to say, but how special would it be to be part of the first team that lifts that trophy in September?
Yeah, of course. I think we had a sniff of it last year, and you know, it probably just caught up with us at the end, which, as disappointing as it is a better place to be than the other side of the table. So I think we'll just look for another solid start, and if we can get close again and try and bring history to this club and this ground, which, you know, so many others have tried. But I feel like we've got a really good squad and the opportunity could be there. Just how we approach it and can we do it.
Good stuff. Well, we'll be supporting you all the way, Lammers. Go well for 2025, and thank you for your time.
No worries. Cheers.
Myself and Tom Lamb will be there at the top of a very chilly Thatcher's deck on media day. I mean, the thing I always fascinates me about Lammerby is not necessarily his fall from grace, but in white ball cricket. But he's just it just shows the strength now of our white ball batting, that here's a guy who's played arguably one of the greatest white ball knocks in the history of this club, and it's going to be really difficult for him to get back in that white ball side. I sort of mentioned, I mean, where do we think Lambs' best route of entry back in is? Because it's really difficult.
Well, in T20 cricket, he started in the 2023 season. He was batting at 5, wasn't he? But he basically got dropped for Dixon effectively. I think Dixon came in for Banton in one game, and then Dixon did well, and then Lammers got edged out after that. And then Lammers only played one game last season, and that was, I think, because of an injury at the Oval. Weirdly, he did play for Oval Invincibles in the 100. I think he played most or all of their games, although he hardly got a bat or a bowl. That number 5 spot, I think, is where he scored that amazing 90-odd a few years ago, wasn't it? And that is sort of it's kind of the obvious, it's not a vacancy, is it? Because Dixon is there, but and Dixon has done well for us, obviously, over the last couple of years. But if you look at the rest of the top 3 is pretty much set with Banton, Smeed and Kola Cadmore. Abel set at number 4. Gregory and Ben Green are pretty much set at 6 and 7. So that number 5 spot is potentially Lammers for the taking. But there's also James Ruder coming as well.
Yeah, that sort of spanner of works, I sort of mentioned at the start of the interview, where he's, Rui comes in to keep instead of Banton on finals day, and plays that amazing knock in partnership with Dixon to rescue us, from the doldrums against Surrey for the second time in second time in 3 days where nobody thought we were going to beat Surrey and we ended up beating Surrey.
Yeah, I agree with Dan. Number 5 in place of Dixon is really his only entree, unless one of the others has a real nightmare of a opening few games. Hopefully they won't, because we haven't mentioned Will Smead yet.
No, he got a bad foot at the moment.
Has he?
Yeah, so he's not in contention for Friday,
Right.
but I expect he'll be ready. Well, he'll be ready for the blast from the comments he was saying. There was precaution that he's kind of out at the moment.
I hope he's going to be fit to play a few games for the seconds in red ball cricket. I'd really love to see him make it into the championship side. He's such a talent, and it's so encouraging that he's decided to go back to the proper form of cricket.
Motion detected at the front door.
And make his name in red ball cricket as well as white ball cricket, rather than just being a sort of round the world mercenary as he's become. And I just hope that ambition is rewarded with results, because if it is, he could be a huge asset to Somerset in all forms of cricket over the next 10 years and beyond.
Without a doubt. Just going back to Larry, I think you can't really pick and choose where you want to go. If you come in and there's a spot open, whether it's through an injury or loss of form, whether it's anywhere from 1 down to 6 or green at 7, you got to take it. If you need to go and bat like take on Will Smead's kind of bish bash bosh role at the top of the order, you got to do that. If it's Tom Abel's kind of nerdling role down at 4, then you got to do that. I think that's just what you got to do. It's professional sport. You got to take your chance when it's given, and it's a bit cutthroat, but that's the name of the game.
What I want to see from Tom Lammonby is 1,000 runs plus in county championship cricket. He got 951 last season, and it'd be great to see him get over 1,000. He's got the talent, but I think that's where he should be focusing his attention to make the absolute most of that number 3 position in the championship side.
And obviously, as it stands, he will be playing 50 over cricket for the first time for Somerset as well, which would be great to see. Because he could still get signed as a 100 wild card or whatever, but like if he's not playing in the blast, then it will be difficult for him to force his way into the 100 again. So, and I think he'd probably be quite happy to actually play some 50 over cricket. Because as I said, he did play in the 100 last year, but he hardly batted or bowled. So to play a month of 50 over cricket will have quite a big role in the team, I think. Probably bat fairly high up in the order, maybe bowl a bit as well. That'd be really good for him and great for the team and great for us to see him finally play that format.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's just a shame that the Metro comes after the blast, so you can't really showcase a case for the blast side, the T20 side during the Metro Bank, which is a shame. But
the following year, 2026, are we still going to have Tom Cadmore at that point? There might be a spot opening up in the blast team at that point. Are we going to keep if TGC doesn't play red ball cricket? Are we really going to keep him just to play blast at the expense of keeping while keeping Lammonby out the side or even Rue out the side in T20 cricket? Like, I'm not sure it would be worth it, to be honest. And obviously Dixon's another one's out of contract as well, so there might be spots opening up in the T20 side next year.
Yeah.
But Sean Dixon's going to score 1,000 runs as well and win us the county championship. So I think this is the year, boys. This is the year for bags of runs, renewing your contract, winning that big bloody gold trophy that has eluded us so far in our 150 years of existence. What else have I got on my agenda? Kind of a little bit all over the shop here today. Should we have pop onto listeners' questions and then we'll have a chat about Somerset Women. Let's go to our first question. Rob Reed says, one for Ben. Should the website show the same academy info for both men and women? Ben was supposed to be on tonight, but I imagine he's buried up to his neck in various cables and adapters up in the media suite there getting everything ready for Friday morning. The reason there wasn't any commentary on the live stream wasn't for lack of bodies or volunteers up there in the press box who could go giving it a stint. The computer that does all that sort of thing blew up. The hard drive died on it, so that's being fixed this week. So I'm assured that all normal service will be resumed come Friday morning. Mike Unwin says, how good was the chocolate fondant dessert at the 150th anniversary dinner? Well, I went to get a drink, Mike, and I was saw Harry Everett was sitting on one of the other tables. Anybody knows Harry, they know he's got a voracious appetite, and he was absolutely ecstatic that there'd been a car accident on the M5, which meant that 3 guests couldn't attend, but their food was still being brought out to the table. So Harry, Bruce bog-trotted about 3 chocolate desserts and roast chicken dinners. So yeah, when you hit 30, Harry, and everything starts expanding, I just want to be there to watch it. But yeah, very enjoyable night at the dinner. Kicking off the club's 150th anniversary celebrations.
And how was the chocolate fondant? Was it good?
It was lovely. I only had one, but Harry had about 2 or 3. Freddie Marsden, any news on the mighty Matt Henry after the World Cup semi-final? No.
Well, the first
good news.
You were there for the media day, and what did Andy Harry say? We're in daily touch with Cricket New Zealand.
Oh,
and he's still due to arrive on April the 7th.
Yeah.
Or possibly before, I think.
So no news, no injury news. He's got to be fit. Nothing to worry about.
The implication I took from what Harry said is that he's coming. Like, they haven't heard otherwise, so he's coming. That's what I thought. So, I mean, even if he might not be fully fit straight away, maybe he'll miss game 1 or something. I don't know. The first game he was going to play, perhaps against Sussex, who knows? But as long as he comes and plays a substantial amount of Championship cricket, that's fine. Yeah, because he could make a real difference to us, our chances of winning the Championship this year.
Absolutely. Andy Cleve has said, just echoed what we said about Matt Henry. No news, Matt Henry is good news, right? Has anyone else listened to the Simon Hughes podcast featuring Durham CEO Tim Bostock discussing proposed 2026 schedule for County Championship? Makes for interesting listening. Reduction in CC matches to 12 with 3 conferences. Paul Farbrace has also advocated for 12 CC matches and 10 blast games with a meaningful 50-over competition to start this season. Thoughts? We love a chat about the schedule, don't we?
Must be.
It looks to me like they are going to go to the 50-over competition at the start of the season at the expense of the county championship. I'd like to see them, do what more or less what we did in 2019, which was to play the one-day competition, the Royal London One-Day Cup, as it was in 2019, alongside the county championship in those early months. But I suspect the player power will say it's asking too much for cricketers to play five days a week in April and May. So I rather fear that we're going to see fewer county championship matches. Hopefully, no fewer than 12, but possibly could even go down to 10. Because that was the Strauss recommendation a few years ago. And the PCA are very hot on players playing too much cricket. But there we are.
Even though it's obviously less cricket than ever, well, not ever, but for a very long time, the amount of county cricket has gone down in recent years. There's less county championship than there used to be earlier this decade. There's less List A cricket earlier this century. There's less championship cricket than earlier this century. There's less 50-over cricket than earlier this century, but clearly it's still not been reduced enough. And I do see their point to some extent. Like, 7 championship games in 8 weeks, it is a lot. It's a lot of cricket, and it is bloody difficult to schedule everything. Like, I try, as I do, I try to make my own improved version of the schedule for this season the other day, and it is really difficult to get everything in and also have it all ideally optimized. Like, we all criticize the schedule, but I was trying to improve it, and it is really hard. Like, what I came up with still had loads of county championship cricket all on weekdays and stuff. So it is hard. And I'm not saying I want it to go down to 12 games, 12 championship matches, but if it is reduced to 12, it does. I think that would give everything a bit more breathing room, and it would probably mean every championship match could be played over a weekend. Although I'm still concerned about, personally, I think the One Day Cup should be played alongside the 100 because I don't want to see Championship cricket alongside the 100. I also don't want to see a reduction in blast games. So I think that was not part of the deal when the 100 came in. We were not meant to see a reduction in the blast. We were not meant to fuck over the non-host counties like that. So there's no easy answers, to be honest. And obviously, Andy, I haven't listened to this podcast, but Andy mentions about 3 conferences being an option for the Championship as well, which I think is a terrible idea because it was okay in 2021 for 1 year, but 3 conferences as opposed to 3 parallel conferences as opposed to 3 divisions one above the other. I just think that it wouldn't produce as good cricket. You dilute the standard to some extent, and also as we saw in 2021, that second stage with divisions, the teams in the lower divisions didn't have anything to play for. So I'm always skeptical of anything that doesn't involve 2 divisions. It should be 2 divisions one above the other. But then the problem is if you are going to go to 12 games, 2 divisions one above the other means that you're only playing some teams once, some teams twice, which I know is already the case, but it would become exacerbated. So there's really no solution.
One solution, which isn't at all fashionable, would be to play the county championship in 3-day games rather than 4 days, and then everybody could play everybody else twice over, and that would occupy 48 days of the season, which is fewer than they're playing now, and it would probably make for livelier cricket as well. But I appreciate I'm a voice crying in the wilderness about 3-day cricket. But we used to play 2 3-day games in a week, followed by a game, a 40-over game on Sunday. And nobody thought that was too much cricket. The players didn't complain, and they were, going here, there, and everywhere in much less sophisticated forms of transport than we got now. But sadly, I think 3-day cricket has gone. But to me, that would be the obvious thing to do, which would both mean that the players were playing less cricket and preserve the integrity of the county championship, so that everybody plays everybody else twice, because at the moment it's a farce. In Division 1, when there are four teams that you only play once, and that can decide the fate of the championship. It's a complete nonsense. It wouldn't happen in any other league in the world. I can't imagine it, and it devalues the county championship.
Unless you went to a top division of 6 who played 10, no, that wouldn't work. There's a top division of 7, and they played 12 games, and a bottom division of 11 who did the 1.5 jobs, 1.5 times each.
It's a bit weird.
Why on earth they changed the first division to 10 and the second to 8? Should be the other way around. Should be 9 each anyway. It's just the whole thing is completely balmy.
It was 8 on top, wasn't it, for about 3 years? 2017 to 19 was 8 on top, 10, and then 10 in the second division. But then they swapped it around to 10 on top, 8 below, because I think they said that there was too high of a percentage of teams getting relegated from Division 1. It was 2 teams out of 8, which was too many. So they swapped it around. But yeah, the schedule is I don't want to say unfixable, but the reason that there's a reason that no solution has been come up with yet, and that's because there's not going to be a solution that pleases everyone. The schedule's already full of compromises in all kinds of ways, and any new proposed schedule will have all sorts of different compromises. So we might be able to produce a schedule which improves, but it will probably make other things worse, and then people will complain about that, and then they'll talk about they need to fix the schedule, and then the whole cycle will go around again, because the schedule has been constantly changing for years and years. And I just don't think they're ever going to perfect it and please all the fans, all the players, and everybody, basically. So, yeah, it's never ending. Although supposedly they really want to get it right for next year. And I'll believe it when I see it. But the one thing I do want to say, actually, is they have to confirm. Well, basically, we have to now assume is 2 up, 2 down in the county championship. I don't want to see them halfway through the season suddenly saying, oh, actually, you have to be in the top 6 to stay in Division 1 for next year because it's going to be a 6-team in Division 1 next year. We have to now assume it's going to be 2 up, 2 down. And if the ECB go back on that, then I think the counties are not going to be happy with that. So presumably they'll object to that entirely. But for the integrity of the championship, we need to know that it's 2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. Hope you've answered your question, Andy. It was another long debate about the schedule. It won't be the first and it won't be the last. I will just say what I always say is football fans and rugby fans don't have to put up with this nonsense every year, so why should we? Our next listener's question, Alex says, has it been confirmed that TKC has switched to a white ball contract? No. And also, how long will it be before Goldsworthy joins the Leicestershire on loan, as he's not getting game time here? Well, he's not going to game time here yet. If we send him out on loan, that leaves us with not very much reserve batting in the squad.
Umid.
Yeah, so just him and Umid.
Well, Smeed when he's fit, and
yeah, TKC's overseas.
There's Josh Thomas as well, and Finn Hill, but obviously very inexperienced.
Yeah, so I expect that's why he's kept on loan, because we'll see. Can't send all of our players out on loan and leave ourselves with a bare 11. We do need to keep something in there, something in the cupboard in case they're required. Ben Wood says just that we're winning the lot this year. Keep up the good work. Share your optimism, Ben, about winning the lot this year. Adam Matravers asks, what needs to change on the batting front to make us go that next step? We haven't recruited in that area, but how do we avoid the Lancashire type collapse this time around? Are we good enough with the bat to mount a genuine challenge, or did we miss a trick not signing an opener? Well, I think always had faith in Sean Dixon. I think the squad is quite batting heavy anyway.
I'm still surprised they didn't. Whether they tried to re-sign Matt Renshaw, I don't know.
Well, I did just see he's just had another baby. So, his partner's just had another baby. So maybe that is.
But you give me a choice between Matt Renshaw and Miguel Pretorius, and good work-life cricketer that Pretorius is. He's not an international left-handed opening batsman, and I
expect he just wasn't available with the baby on the way, Gibbo. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw him in September. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
I think the batting's strong enough. If they play to their potential, they're more than strong enough. It's the bowling that worries me, especially in the latter end of the season. For the last umpteen years, we've come apart at the seams in the last month of the season. Matt Henry won't be with us in September, by the look of it. The likes of Craig Overton and Josh Davey and poor old Lewis Gregory, will be getting very tired by the end of the season, as they were at the end of last season. And it's that championship and run in combined with finals day in the Blast. Maybe another run in the One Day Cup that's going to put a real strain on the surviving players. And then we've got to see it through to the end, and not just see it through to the first week in September, which is what happened last year.
Well, we've got 3 championship games in September, 2 at home and the other one's at Chelmsford. So we should be able to unleash our deadly spin twins, or indeed spin triplets, those 2 venues. That should leave us not, because we didn't bowl a lot of seam towards the end of the season. I think Lewis bowled probably about 6 overs in the whole of September, or something strange like that. And
he was carrying the attack against Hampshire in the last game.
Yeah, Old Trafford was obviously a lot of. We bowled a lot of overs at Old Trafford as well.
He did,
and we ended the season with 5 championship games, didn't we, last year? Because there was 2 at the end of August, then 3 in September. Whereas this year, it's those 2 championship games that were in August last year are effectively the ones that are in July this year. So there are less championship games in the final block of the season this year, which may or may not help. But I think we need to have hopefully learned a lot from last season and apply those learnings, as I'm sure Jason Kerr will say, to this year if we are in a similar situation.
Yeah.
And also, I think we need to maybe not sign an overseas bowler. I mean, whenever we sign overseas players in September for just a September stint where they play about 3 games, it just never seems to work, does it? So maybe this year we should stick with what we've got.
Put the money in a suitcase and give it to the local Musgrove Park Hospital or something like that. Give it a charity, because The best will in the world, yeah. Signing, a New Zealand Lions, whatever their equivalent is, seam bowler or an India type bowler, Pakistan type, but it's just never works.
Unless we can sign Matt Henry back for September, then I think we'd all get back.
Well, yeah, I think that may be an exception to the rule. Bob Depledge says, Bashir's out on loan already, then potentially an England call-up. Do you think there's any chance of him putting together a string of games for us?
No. I think Bashir's out of contract at the end of this season, and he's not the first choice spinner for us. He's basically either going to be with England in the middle of the summer. At the start of the summer, he won't get in the team because we prefer Leach to him, and rightly so, in my opinion. He might get a few games later in the season once he's finished with England as a second spinner to Leach, but he's just never going to get the game time or the overs he needs with us. So sadly, I think he's going to be moving on at the end of the season.
Agreed.
Here's one then. What if? I mean, it's very unlikely, but what if he doesn't find a county? Could he still be an ECB centrally contracted player with no county who is effectively loaned to counties from his ECB central contract?
That's a daft question. He's going to find a county. He's a top class bowler.
Yeah, I think someone will want him.
It was just a hypothetical. It was more of a hypothetical in the sense that
English cricket isn't exactly running over with top class spinners. There's only about half a dozen in the entire country, and Shoaib is one of the very best of those. He's just unlucky that he's got Jack Leach ahead of him at Somerset. Otherwise, he'd be our spinner, and Surrey would be the obvious place for him to go because they haven't got a decent. They've only got Will Jacks to bowl his part-time off breaks, and that's where he started his cricketing career, and that's where I think he might very well blossom. And good luck to him.
It was just a speculative thought experiment question. I fully expect them to, either stay with us or, I think it'll go to Surrey. Next question then is from one just coming from Harry Hayden. Does anybody have any idea what Somerset's preferred structure for the 2026 season is? Oh, Ben's arrived.
Hello,
Ben. I think this is the latest anyone has ever been to an episode of Always Look on the Bright Side Live. I'm making this about 48 minutes in.
Evening, everyone. Sorry, I've just been stuck in traffic getting back from Bristol.
All right. Oh, what are you doing up there, you poor thing?
Dropping our computer off to go in for some surgery.
Oh, that's the one that needs the new hard drive. We talked about the new hard drive, so don't worry about
that. So he's gone in for his surgery, so hopefully he'll be out on Wednesday or Thursday. But we got stuck getting back.
All right, no worries. Well, we pretty much discussed everything about the Gloucester game and everything. So Gibbo's gone off to. I think Gibbo's gone somewhere. The wheels are falling off this evening. Honestly, it's not quite carnage, but it's getting close to it. Right, where were we? What were we talking about? We just finished that last question. Oh, well, there was one question that came through for you, Ben, which I'll just rewind to, which was from Rob Reed. One for Ben. Should the website show the same academy info for both men and women? I'm not really au fait with the academy section of the website, but I'm sure you are. So if you want to let us know what's up with that one,
definitely on the radar. It's on the list. We've been doing some profiles of the academy players individually. So they've been going out on our channels and on the website. And we just need to then, once we've done the men and the women, we will update them all because both of the men and the women are slightly out of date at the moment. But it is on my colleague Will's to-do list, I can assure Rob.
Will's ever-growing to-do list. Fantastic. Right, so we shift over. Well, while we're talking about Somerset, we shift over to Somerset Women. Now they are currently in Sharjah on pre-season, and I was fortunate enough to grab 5 minutes with Sophie Love on Media Day, and here's that interview for you now.
Sophie Love, first ever Somerset Women's professional captain. How does that feel? That's a question you've been asked about 50 times today. So.
Yeah, feels amazing, to be honest with you. Never envisaged growing up, coming to watch games here, starting out in the pathway here. I'd never be a professional cricketer for Somerset even, so yeah, to be the first ever professional women's captain, yeah, pretty cool feeling, immense sense of pride, and yeah, hopefully I can do the job justice.
I was just looking at the fixtures now. You've got to wait a little while now before your first game. Is kind of like you like a sort of a kid in December waiting for Christmas Day to get everything going?
Yeah, I think the last couple of weeks there's been a lot of itchy feet around. We actually go away on pre-season tour tomorrow, so we're going out to Sharjah for 8-9 days, which would be brilliant for the squad. Brilliant to kind of get away from this place, get loads of cricket under our belt. We're playing a few games out there. And then back into a couple of friendlies here, and then we're ready to kind of hit the ground running. But yeah, I guess it's still just under a month away. So yeah, it does still feel like we've got a little bit of work to do before then. But yeah, we'll be ready to go, no doubt.
So a lot of names will be familiar to Somerset faithful, obviously yourself and like sort of Heather Knight and Danny Gibson. Can you sort of talk us through some of the names that have come in that have caught your eye over the winter?
Yeah, there's a young girl called Erin Vikusic. She's played a lot of her cricket down in Devon, 19 years old. Still pretty raw, I'd say, but she's got an infectious personality. She makes me laugh all of the time, and she's got a very good skill level. She probably doesn't realise how good she is, and obviously hasn't had that exposure to professional cricket yet, but really excited if she does get the opportunity this summer, that she can do special things.
Cricketer magazine, would you agree on Erin Vikusic? I don't know if you know it, but they do the schools pull out every year.
Yeah.
And I think it was for Kings in Taunton, and their player to watch was Erin, and that caption was above a picture of their first 11 with a young Thomas Rue as captain. So she's obviously held in very high esteem. Look forward to seeing her this summer.
Yeah, we've also recruited Olivia Barnes and Laura Jackson. Liv is from Kent Way, grew up in Margate, I believe. As an 18-year-old has taken the plunge to come and move to Taunton and pursue professional cricket. She's left-arm spinner, so really excited to kind of add that skill set to our squad. It was something we were missing, so Liv's come in the last couple of months, as has Laura Jackson, who started out her professional cricket career at Lancashire. Seam bowler, can take the new ball, hoops it in quite a lot, so hopefully we get the opportunity to see her take a few poles here over the season. But yeah, they've added a great new energy. Jacko's added a northern accent, which we're not really used to down here, so that's good fun when we get to take the mick out of that.
Do you feel that potentially the group of these 8 teams are going to take a little while to sort of settle down, because players have been moving all over the country, players have left Somerset, had players come in? I mean, how difficult is that going to make your job and Trevor's job as kind of a leadership group to kind of know sort of your best team and their best roles, and also sort of flip side is scouting the opposition and kind of work out how they're going to try and go against you?
Yeah, I think in terms of our squad and our makeup and who's going to be playing that first game against Surrey on the 23rd of April, I think the next 9-10 days are going to be a big indicator of that. How the girls go on pre-season tour. Obviously we've been inside a lot of the winter. A few of our girls have been out to Australia to get a little bit of exposure to club cricket out there. But yeah, it's going to be a great test over the next sort of 9-10 days to get a feel of where players really are at. Then we're back into a couple of friendlies, again another opportunity for players to show what they're about. And in terms of the opposition, yeah, I guess there is a familiarity around a lot of the teams. Durham probably the most unknown. They've recruited very well, I believe. Not sure how they've done so well in their recruitment policy, but they have. They've attracted a lot of players to go up north and take that plunge, I guess. So interesting to see how they shape up. Hampshire are another one I'm really intrigued about. They've obviously had a lot of success as Southern Vipers, but they've lost a number of players. So yeah, I guess only time will tell. Hopefully we can hit the ground running. We're playing Surrey first game, which is always going to be a very competitive fixture. And you never really know who Surrey are going to put on the park. So yeah, scouting, there could be a lot of names that we're going through.
Team are going to take the same approach as the men and parachute players in for one game if they need to.
Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen?
Brilliant. I mean, it's obviously the 150th anniversary of the club now. How special is it that kind of coincides with the first year as a professional women's team? Obviously, the men are going to win the county championship this year.
Obviously.
You're going to win all of your competitions as well. So, I mean, it just feels special this year.
Yeah, it does. It does have a really special feel, and I think everyone across the clubs feels that. I think ultimately we're just a very small part in terms of the cricket that's played out on the pitch. But yeah, the work that goes on behind the scenes of this club is remarkable. And yeah, hopefully it's a great year for everyone, and hopefully we're celebrating some silverware. Hopefully both men's and women's. But at least one trophy across the two teams would be amazing this summer, and any more would be an added bonus, I think.
Brilliant. Well, thanks for your time, Sophie. I hope you're able to hear us, because they've decided on media day that would be the best time to do the jet washing of all the seats here in the Marcus Just College Pavilion. But Sophie, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
This season.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Sophie Luff there, again on top of a very windy Thatcher's Deck on media day last week. I think it's going to be very, very interesting and possibly very difficult challenge for that leadership team coming in, because I reckon they've probably got 6 or 7 names nailed down for that first game that takes place. What is it now? 23rd of April. So about 3.5 weeks' time, playing Surrey at Beckenham, and then it's kind of a case of, you can say, 4 or 5 players, maybe even 6, putting their hands up and trying to claim those last few spots. I mean, Dan, you're much more au fait with the women's side of things than myself. What do you sort of think about how they're going to go about getting this side together over the next few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a few names that pick themselves. Obviously, Luff, Wilson, Wellington. Not sure about England player availability just yet. I mean, throughout the season, I think it will be difficult to get many games into the England players, and I think the ECB will probably, they like to rest them, particularly players like Dean and Knight, who will be playing for England quite a lot. There's some really good young talents, I think. Some really exciting talents in that squad. Lola Harris, who's played for Somerset for a few years. She's a leg spinner. There's Erin Vukasic, who's a Croatian international who we've signed. Saw a few clips of her last year. She looks like she's fairly quick and moves the ball around. So she's a good little wild card, because she didn't play for Western Storm. Olivia Barnes, who signed from Kent, left arm spinner. Don't know much about her, but it's always, slow left armers are relatively rare in women's cricket, so good to have her on board. I think it won't be an easy season. Well, I don't want to. I need to get the wording of this right. It won't be an easy season for Somerset Women, because I think there are some teams which are a bit stronger than us. There are some teams out there which who are clearly a lot more experienced. We are quite a young team, but it's an exciting team for sure. And I think there's no doubt that the players being based in one place will help them. I think. There's been lots of talk about how the regions were quite sort of nomadic, playing in different places, training in different places. So having that focus now of being in one place, being based at one place, and being based at Somerset rather than Gloucestershire or Glamorgan, is probably an advantage as well. So hopefully we can see some good things from Somerset this year, and hopefully an improvement on Western Storm, who obviously were a bit disappointing in the last couple of years. So yeah, exciting times ahead, and I think the fans will. I already feel a lot more engaged with them than Western Storm as well, for sure. Because I think the Storm were, I enjoyed following Western Storm, but there wasn't quite the same level of emotional connection as there is to a Somerset team. So yeah, exciting times ahead, regardless of results.
Yeah, agree with that. One thing that I'm just looking at here, I try and keep a spreadsheet of all the Somerset squads and that. I'm seeing quite potentially a lot of young girls in that squad, sort of between sort of 19 to 23 years of age, who are going to be sort of in a professional environment for the first time. and potentially maybe not actually playing that much cricket. So I do think it's going to be a management, quite a job for the management just to keep all those players happy and satisfied, that even those that potentially young and sort of going a little wide-eyed thinking, we're a professional cricketer, and it not quite happening just as quickly as potentially they might have thought it would. Ben, do you know what's any news from the camp over in Sharjah? Have they played a game yet? Or are they still having a few hits in the nets?
I don't know, unfortunately. It's I know that they've got some games planned. I think that there's a lot of training going on as well. But yeah, I think the games are going to be fairly unofficial. That they're playing, so we're not sort of expecting any sort of scorecards or things like that. But we are hopefully getting some information shortly through a platform that the girls use to communicate with Lily, who's our content creator for the women. So really exciting. It's obviously the first tour of its kind to take place. So really great that the men and the women could both go on the pre-season tour. And yeah, it's going to be a really interesting few weeks as we gear up to the first game on the first home game on the 27th of April against Lancashire. So kind of gone out with a bit of an offer for men's members who haven't got a women's membership yet for a free ticket. So hopefully people can come along on the 27th just to see what it's all about and support the team on their first home game. So trying to get as many people as we can into that April the 27th, really.
Yeah, I'll definitely be there. Dan, I imagine you'll be as well. Gibber, you're definitely going to be at the Oval with Mark Church. That contract will be signed and sealed and delivered for that day. The men have got a championship match at Surrey at the Oval on that day. Ben, appreciate you've only just kind of joined us. Do you have any updates for us regarding anything? Because we're going to just about to knock it on the head in a minute, but
I think in terms of Matt Henry, I know that some of the questions came in about Matt Henry, and I only know as much as we heard from Andy Hurry in the press conference the other day. I wouldn't say it sounded overly optimistic, but I guess we may well have heard if he'd been completely ruled out by now. So my completely non-work hat related things suggest that he may well miss a few weeks. But
we were optimistic about 15 minutes ago.
I don't know,
we were all saying, well, no news is good news. It's fine. He'll be here. It was only a niggle.
I hope
taking
precautions.
precautions.
And it may well be correct. Just my personal hunch is.
I agree with you, Ben. I agree with you.
Is that I would be surprised to see him here next. It'd be this time next week, really, wouldn't it? If he was going to play it the second game, but who knows? I do think that had he been completely crocked and you think we'd have got he's ruled out, so they would be looking for a replacement by now. It's just my completely probably incorrect take, but that's a completely that's a take that's got no knowledge on it whatsoever, really, other than what we all heard on the press conference.
Fair dues. Oh well. See, if we set our expectations low, and then all of a sudden he's here and he's got a brand new bionic shoulder and he's bowling 95 mile an hour, moving it both ways, ripping through batting lineups left, right, and centre. Happy days. That's a winner.
The positive news I do have is I do think that the England women's player availability will be slightly better. We've not had official confirmation of that, but I do anticipate there'll be good England representation in those early games for Somerset. So hopefully on the 27th of April or the 23rd, if people are going to Beckenham, there'll be plenty to look forward to on that front.
Yeah, I think it would be because the ECB often didn't make the England players available to their regions, even when they were theoretically available. But yeah, hopefully as a gesture from the ECB for the launch of the new county Tier 1 system, it will be good for them to make the England players available. So fingers crossed they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Really looking forward to the 27th. Really looking forward to the 4th. Somerset versus Worcestershire. Rothesay County Championship Division 1, 11 a.m. Are we all going to be there?
Yep.
Good stuff. Are you going to be there with microphone in hand or just you're turning up anyway, Gibbo?
I'll turn up with a microphone. Whether it'll be connected to anything is another matter.
Well, I'm sure Ben would love to have you on the live stream if the BBC haven't pulled their fingers out their asses and got it all sorted out.
You seen the forecast for the weekend, by the way? It's absolutely stunning.
Sunshine all the way.
Beautiful. Pretty good, isn't it? It was glorious down here in Newton today. Yeah, I can't believe it.
21 degrees on Friday. I can't believe it.
I know.
It used to be a genius.
Remember your hats, remember your sun cream, remember to stay hydrated.
Yeah, sounds great.
Oh, can't wait. Right. See you all Friday. Listeners, see you there Friday. Bring on the county championship.
Cheers, chaps.
There we are.
Cheers, guys. Bye.